lax with foreigners, but it's an intricate language. Okay, good evening. We're broadcasting live a couple minutes late. I just got off the phone with a man who is going to help us this Sunday. So he owns a Thai restaurant in Dundas called Bangkok Spoon. Free advertising for him. But he's a really nice guy, and he's been a supporter of the monastery in Stony Creek. And so I told him we're opening a new monastery near McMaster, asked if he would come and maybe bring some food for the monks. And he said he's going to Toronto on Sunday, so he won't be able to come. But he said he will send his wife in his stead. So I was talking Thai to him, and Robin and I were just, Robin recognized some of the words. But you can't take me as an example. We were talking because the words I use, because monks are on a higher level than lay people. So I use words that you would actually normally reserve for talking to very young people. I could never use those words for a monk. So I say kapjai to him. Most monks don't even say kapjai, though it's the way my teacher talks. So it's a fairly familiar. If you want to, for a monk, you would have to say, to be formal like a monk, you would have to say just anumotana, which means anumodana, right? Or you would say Jalon Pon, which it's quite formal. I do that sometimes. Jalon Pon is like yes, but it's very, very formal way of saying yes. Anyway, so that's good news. This Sunday looks like it's going to work out well. Today we had our first meditation group on campus, and maybe I can show you a picture for those of you who don't avidly follow my every move on Facebook. Here's the picture. Let's see if we can get this up here. Screen share. There. Do you see that?
Oh, very nice, yes.
Oh, that didn't work. Thanks. Oh,
There's the other one. Very nice. Looks like a nice campus.
yeah, it's a nice campus. I mean, people come here to have weddings and stuff because it's fairly green. Right behind the university is a big nature preserve. Because of how awful Hamilton is, they tried to offset it by making lots of natural preserves. The chemicals in the water and stuff probably limit the efficacy of that activity, but nonetheless, good on them. So yeah, we had, let's see, count them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Looks like 9 there. Let's go back here. Oops. There. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Plus me is 12. This is when I was just demonstrating how to practice. And just explaining and had them close their eyes and sitting. So it took about an hour, and everyone was quite happy with it. This girl on the left, Michelle, she's an old time meditator. She's been to Thailand, and her parents are Thai. I think maybe her father's Laotian, I'm not sure. And this guy, he said he will join our executive. These two showed up late, but were very, very keen. That was awesome. This is our president of our organization, sitting full lotus. Not Buddhist, but very interested in Buddhism. I think that's how it is. Jordan, I don't remember his name. Jennifer, Jennifer's, I think, Vietnamese background, but I met her in, was it Lao? I can't remember. But but the reason I say is because she comes to Stony Creek, or I met her at Stony Creek. Don't remember his name. Shoot, bad with names. Too many names. Too many people. I should remember some of their names. Anyway, so that's that. Everyone, I share it with you. Why? Because you share good deeds with each other so everyone can appreciate them. Because when you appreciate the good deeds of others, even though you weren't involved with the good deeds, then you get goodness. Goodness comes to you. It's called Pattanumodana Maya Punya. Punya. Punya that comes from rejoicing in the charity of others. Pattanumodana. Something like that. Patta. I'm not quite sure what patta. Pattanumodana. The Punyanumodana. When you rejoice in the goodness of others, this is goodness. It's goodness just to rejoice in the goodness of others. So you talk about how great it is to be charitable and kind to others, but when you appreciate the kindness and the goodness of others, that in and of itself is goodness. So if you appreciate the appreciation of others, you see it's just an endless stream of goodness. Goodness is not that difficult, Cultivation of goodness. We should talk more about that. Goodness is very important. So I did say earlier that charity is not a part of the path. I think it has to be said. We have to be clear. We don't want to mistake charity for the Buddha's teaching, right, for the path of the Buddha. It's not the path that leads to cessation of suffering, but it's important because of the benefits that it gives you, the encouragement that it gives you. But Christians can be generous, and non-Buddhist people not seeking nibbana. Generosity can lead you in other directions, like to heaven. Well, the weirded out people probably didn't show up. But it was nice because you can see it's right in the middle of campus. So when people get off class, they walk right by us, and it was quite active. That was the one thing I was concerned that it might not have been the greatest venue. But on the other hand, we talked about it, and you could also argue that it's good for people to see meditation, to be reminded of meditation. And another part of that is that because it's new, we wanted to let people know that it's happening in case they were interested in joining. And indeed, 2 or 3 people, I think, in that group just joined just because they saw us. And on top of that, it was like a nice day out. So we thought it's great to meditate outside. And it's useful to practice in a place that's not so quiet because you can, it helps you to incorporate the meditation into your life to become better able to deal with distractions. So anyway, tonight we have a quote. Robin, would you do us the honor of reading that? You get
Yes.
goodness. Every time you read those quotes, goodness comes to you.
Anumodana.
Anumodana.
There are these 4 powers. What 4? The power of mindfulness, the power of concentration, the power of innocence, and the power of unity.
The power of innocence. That's my favorite. I had to look at the Pali because I'm like, does it really say that? It does. Anavajjabala. Anavajjabala. Bala is power. Ana is means no. No, an means no. Vajja or avajja? Anavajja. Vajja. Why is it? Oh, ana is negative, right? Instead of avajja, it's anavajja.
Yeah, innocence doesn't seem to be a word that we come across all that often in the
No.
scriptures, does it?
No.
Kind of rare.
It's usually translated as blamelessness or freedom from
Okay.
fault, because wajja means fault. So faultlessness. So we do come across it, but not as innocent. See, he's doing well as a translator in terms of making it palatable, approachable, easily understandable by English speakers, which is a great service. So innocence really gets the point across much better than freedom from fault or blamelessness even. Innocence. I mean, it's actually not a literal translation because anawajja is negative. It's a negative of something, like not being something. So like blamelessness or freedom from fault or faultlessness. But innocence does sound nice. So the power of mindfulness, let's go through these. Why is mindfulness powerful? Mindfulness is the ultimate solvent. All the stickiness, all of our attachments fade away. It's like the ultimate power. It's the most powerful thing um, because it's invincible. There's nothing that can hurt you if you're mindful. If because you don't react. Mindfulness means not reacting. That's the meaning. Power of concentration is different. Concentration not as powerful, I would say, although it depends because jhana is concentrate. The highest concentration is jhana, and it's very powerful. Worldly jhanas, like samatha jhanas, are very powerful. They say even fire and weapons. If you enter into the jhana, it's a legend. I don't know if it's really true, but apparently you can't. A weapon won't. You can be shot or something, and you won't get hurt. It'd be an interesting thing to test. Though. Have people go into jhana and then shoot them to see if they get hurt. Maybe shoot them with rubber bullets or something. It's probably not punya, unless they were a willing participant. Um, but there's a power to it nonetheless. I mean, regardless of that, you can say emotions don't arise. So mindfulness, we say, it makes you invincible. Well, concentration also makes you invincible, but it's more of a avoiding because you don't hear, right? So mindfulness, you hear. If someone calls you nasty names, you hear it, but it doesn't. You don't react to it. Concentration is not non-reactivity. It's the transcendence. So you're not there to hear it. Your mind isn't at the ear. Your mind is focusing on the Buddha, or it's focusing on metta, or it's focusing on something else. That's worldly jhana. Now, lokuttara jhana is another uh, jhana concentration, but it's super mundane. It's the focus is nibbana. The object of the jhana is nibbana. So at that time, it's also not non-reactivity. It's you don't hear it because there's no hearing in nibbana. So that's the power of concentration. It's total avoidance, total escape. So worldly and worldly uh, temporary, super mundane is stable, solid. So an arahant, even after they come back from nibbana, they will live their lives, but they, what would you say there? I think you'd still say that was mindfulness, not concentration, because there they actually will hear again, but they're perfectly mindful, so they don't react. That's not concentration, but the jhanas are concentration. The power of innocence um, lies in one's ability to know that when accused of something, right, you have done nothing wrong. People who get upset when others um, accuse them of impropriety or call them nasty names will tend to be those people who actually have done something wrong. When you get outraged, someone who is outraged because people call them nasty names, it's a sign that they're not sure of their own innocence. So maybe they know they're innocent in that specific instance, so they get outraged about it. But if they were truly innocent, it wouldn't bother them. There's a power to innocence when you know that you are a good person, right? Not just innocent in this one particular case. Innocence really means, in the true sense, being a good person. Good people don't get upset when others accuse them, or and the power of simply not feeling guilty. This is a great power. When you sit in meditation, when you're alone, when you speak in public, yeah? When you speak in public, if you're sure of yourself, there's two ways of being sure of yourself. You can pretend to be sure, you can exude this confidence, or you can truly have done nothing wrong, in which case you're perfectly happy to go in front of people and talk about anything. When people debate you, attack you, argue with you, if you're innocent, if you know you're right, because you are right, and there's two ways again. You can think you're right and be wrong, and so you have no problem arguing because I'm right, or you can really be right. The problem is if you're not right and you think you are, then someone can debate you, argue with you, and show you that you're wrong, and then your whole confidence crumbles. The power, you lose the power. But you can't lose the power if you're right and you know you're right. On the other hand, if you're right and are confident, there's you don't have the power, but that is often because you have been wrong before. You're not, you know, you have faults. You're flawed. You feel guilty or you feel unsure of yourself, and so it's easy to doubt, even when you are right. Innocence brings confidence, and it brings stability of mind. No guilt, no remorse. And the power of unity, I didn't have enough time to really look this up. Sangahambala. Sanganhita. Sanganhita. It says here it means showing kindness, helping. Sanganha. Calls it Sanganhita. Hitabayuttakana. I don't get it. Sanganha. Sanganhana. Sanganhana. Which means showing kindness. Power of showing kindness. I guess the sense here, how it relates to unity, is of harmony. And so the power of sangaha. Sangaha means being connected. Collection, inclusion. Well, it can also mean kind disposition. So I think we have to go with that instead. It's not sangaha in terms of being connected. We're gonna say that he's got a wrong translation here. Well, according to the commentary, you see, some people disagree with the commentaries. Think the commentaries are just making stuff up, which, sometimes you gotta wonder whether they're interpreting things, or whether they're actually being strictly etymological, or strictly, how do you say it, or whether they're interpreting or not adding meaning. But in this case, we go by the commentary. The commentary says sangaha, which it can means sanganha, which means kindness. And there's a great power to kindness. Kindness is powerful. It makes you friends. It is blameless. Anyone who blames you for it, it returns back to them. For a good person, when you attack a good person, it's like a boomerang. The negative effects come back and attack you. When you attack a good person, when you say bad things about them, when you try to destroy them or hurt them, you only make them more powerful. People only love them more because they see you. This is a big thing that people don't realize when they criticize. There's one teacher, or it's a common thing in Thailand to say, when you point your finger at someone, 3 fingers are pointing back at you, right? You see these 3? So you do more damage to yourself when you point your finger at someone. So kindness is powerful in that way. If you're a kind person, a good person, awesome things happen. Your life becomes better, happier. You become more content and more at peace with yourself. And you have great power. It gets to the point where Buddhists sometimes use it to gain power and influence, where they'll do good deeds just because of how it looks to others. There are people who do this because it looks good, and they do grandwa donations, and it somehow it does bring them some power in a worldly sense. It's highly unsustainable. It's not the thing that's going to bring them to heaven for sure, or lead them closer to nibbana, but they use this, and it's like a currency of gifts. It's really kind of weird.
Celebrities do that too, it seems like.
Yeah, right. But it gets to strange proportions in Buddhism, much because it's hard to let it go and rely upon the power of goodness, to let go of this need to get something back. So you think, what do I get out of it? Right? And you can't just let go and realize that the goodness will take care of itself. Goodness is good just for itself. Okay. Uh-oh. I don't think we have 50% green, Robin.
No. Either that or the people with orange names have especially long names, so it proportionally looks more. Like there's someone named the Emperor of Ice Cream. So maybe it's just longer names that are orange, but I think you're right.
I think everyone should do 10 minutes of meditation right now. Let's say that. We're going to take a
Okay.
10-minute break for everyone to do 10 minutes of meditation.
Okay.
All right? And then we'll come back and answer some questions. So
Okay.
10 minutes, everyone has, and that means you have to actually click. You who are logged in, you have to scroll down and either do 5 minutes walking, 5 minutes sitting, or 10 minutes walking, or 10 minutes sitting. You can do more if you want, but we're going to take a 10-minute break to allow those people who are orange to get their green on. Okay, I have to turn something on. I'll be right back. Okay, that was 10 minutes. Now we're mostly green. A few stubborn oranges out there.
They might be at work.
Uh-huh.
Could be.
All right. It gets a little past this time. Anyway, I think that's mostly people who meditate with us normally.
Yes.
Except Emperor of Ice Cream, no meditation history. Michael, meditation history. Good. And Anthony, he's meditated with. Leela's joining us from Thailand. Good morning, Leela. All right. So, questions.
Venerable Yuttadhammo, when I meditate, somewhere halfway I get the urge to do something. Move my hands to somewhere, shift my posture, anything just to move. Where does this almost irresistible urge arise from? Thank you.
It's restlessness. It's, I think we'd call that udacha. Or, yeah, and it's associated with energy. People who are active, who have the habit of um, activity, sports, um, physical exertion, all of these things, people who are into that, it cultivates this inability to sit still. Once had a woman who had this so bad that she just got up. I think it was also her own meditation condition. It was probably had to do with concentration and her state of mind. But she just had to get up and run around, like walk very, very quickly, not run, but walk very, very quickly around the monastery. We've had people who have practiced sports in the past, played sports, or big into sports. They have a hard time sitting still.
In addition to mindfulness, what other factors help in realizing reality?
Well, there's three factors: atapi and sampajano and satima. Atapi is the effort. Sampajanya is the clarity of mind or the awareness of the object. And sati is reminding yourself, this is this, that is that. Seeing is seeing, hearing is hearing. When you say seeing, seeing or hearing.
Bhante, would it be appropriate for you to volunteer, perhaps on behalf of the Buddhism Society, to give a seminar on meditation to the university faculty? I feel like that's something academics would dig and it could help spread the word.
Yeah, I'm not really into volunteering to teach. If they want me to teach, they'll invite me, no?
I read a really cool article from Brown University in Rhode Island. They have meditation labs and they work meditation into the curriculum for, I think it was for students that are in the medical pre-med and so forth. I should dig that article out. It was really, really interesting. But they have the meditation labs in between classes and all the students can go. So it's really just part of their day there. Realization has occurred naturally. We just have to mindfully observe phenomena that occurs at the moment. That's it.
Yes.
Bhante, what is your opinion on having extra senses, being extrasensory, seeing auras, etc.? Is this healthy wisdom or dangerous emotion?
I don't think it's either. It's not wisdom. It's abinya, so in a sense it's higher knowledge, but it's not wisdom. It's based on concentration. Yeah. Emperor of ice cream. Could you stay on after the session, and we'll try to figure out what's going wrong? No, you don't need to pick you don't need to pick a sound. That shouldn't make a difference. But we can figure out what's wrong. It may be your username. It may, for some reason, not like your username. Too long or something. I don't know. I'm not sure what's wrong. But we can figure it out.
I have no more questions.
Okay. Well, no more questions. That's because everyone did meditation. You see, meditation answers your questions.
It's true. The more meditation, the less questions.
Okay, so let's quit. I'm gonna figure this out with this person who has named themselves Emperor of Ice Cream.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Robin. See
Good
you.
night.
Good night. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Good night.